Welcome everybody, and thanks for joining us this evening to the Sip and Sketch. It's the first one during our South African lockdown, and we are going to take about 20 minutes to create an artwork out of ink. So if you've got your little ink pen, I know that some of you would have been looking at your pens yesterday, wondering if it was water-based, and so you may have been spitting on it and trying to smudge it, but we're going to try and do a drawing that's going to be in pen, and it doesn't matter if it doesn't become watercolor in the end anyway. So it's going to be about 10-15 minutes of drawing, and then we're going to do some brushwork, and hopefully by half an hour we should be good to go. And so I'm going to bring you a little bit closer so that you can see what's going on. Those of you that are joining us for the first time, my name is Brent Dodd, and part of Brent Dodd Galleries. So after the Sip and Sketch, I'll have a little walk around the gallery with you so you can see some of the work that's actually currently on show and will be shipped when we exit our lockdown, which is when we are making this video. Alright, so if you're ready to go, have your pen and paper ready, and we will think about getting going. So some of the basics are, I'm just going to do a little outline here as you join. You can see. Just take an outline. This is what the outline of your page would be, so that you can see. Alright, you don't need to draw a little border around your page. And it's literally going to be like stick figures. A lot of people are terrified when they say we're actually going to do a drawing, but it is easy if we just do some of the basics. Everyone sees the same, everyone listens pretty much the same, but it's more about what you hear and how that instruction is given across. And the idea is that drawing is always about where things are compared to other things. So drawing is, I've been very lucky in my life to have had drawing take me to all sorts of places, and to have also exhibited in many countries across the world, and it's nice to see some people logging in from some of those places. Nice hi there to Tracy, Rosina and Elle from Boerne, Texas, who you're looking for hospitality. That is 5-star. You won't get that kind of hospitality and kindness anywhere else in the world, so big up to you, Texans. And so, what we're going to do, if you can hear me loud and clear, just give us a wow, click there, and if you have any comments about anything, just write it in the comment section, and I will be able to get back to you on those in due course. Okay, so pen out and ready to go. If you're in South Africa, you've been in lockdown for just over 4 weeks now, where they also closed any liquor stores, and so cheers to you and your water. Those of you elsewhere in the world enjoying a glass of wine, think of us. And so when we break down our picture, I don't want you to put any lines on the page just yet, but we break it down into where there'd be the top left, top right, bottom left, and I want to focus on this bottom left section to start with. So somewhere around in this bottom left hand section, you'll see my thumb. I want to do a semicircle, a nice neat little semicircle. You can run your pen backwards and forwards, just like that, to get a semicircle. And the more you end up sketching and scribbling, the better with this. The less detail I think you find, or the less accurate it is, you'll find that there's order in that chaos. Because the more chaos there is, at least the chaos is replicating itself. So don't be too hard on yourselves, and we'll see where that will take us. This is a free class, by the way, for all of you that have supported me and my Sip and Sketching over the last couple of years. Very much thank you to you. So please, no complaints, because you're not actually paying for this one. So what I want to do now is scribble while I'm doing flicks up past from around about the center. I'm doing little flicks up. So I'm putting my pen down and I'm just flicking it up and doing random little scribbles, and they're about a little finger's width wide. Excuse my fingers, I've got glue all over them. And we're going to get up to that left-hand corner, so we start curving upwards, and we keep curving upwards until we sort of fade out there. Now that is probably the most complicated it's going to be. There's a whole lot of stick figures that are sticking out here, little scribbles. Literally, there's no way that you can possibly think, alright, I went right there and then a little tick or curve. Doesn't matter, it's more like you could literally just scribble up. That's what we do. Ideally we want to have a couple of little flicks because this is going to be grass around our toaster that we're drawing. Okay, so there we go with that. Now, from that point to that point we've got a semicircle. What I want you to do is to make a little dot there, our little fingers width across, 1, same distance apart, 2, same distance apart, 3. Alright, so we've got 3 dots to the left of the front of that semicircle, just sneaking its way up the hill, or the grassy knoll there. Right, from that first one, we're going to see if we can curve our way up and replicate that semicircle. Alright, so we can run backwards. We're just tracing lightly there, so that we've got another little semicircle going there. That looks pretty horrendous because it is not geometrically accurately done, but that's where we are this evening. If we find that our lights do go out, and we find that the lights go off or we lose connectivity, we just had a bit of a storm come through, and so give us about 5.5, 6 minutes and we'll get back to you. Those of you that have just joined us, we're doing about a 20-minute drawing. You're about 5 minutes in. All we started out with was a little semicircle here, and then we did some scribbling up from the right center up into the left hand side there, and then we did 2, 3 lines across, and we drew another semicircle on the top there. Okay, from that we're going to double our space there. What we're going to do is, if you think on the right hand side here of our semicircle, we are going to again do like we did here. We're going to do small little flicks, and we're going to climb up here as well until it becomes horizontal. Okay, so you see that the top here is about the same height. We want to climb across, and we're just going to scribble out until we get to the right hand side. So there's this little focal point on the left hand side where we've got a little bit of a semicircle going there, and then the width of that semicircle is a little finger, and we've managed to try and do another semicircle. This grass that we've got growing here on the right hand side is just, as I said earlier, you're just putting your pen down and you're flicking it up. As you flick, you'll find that the pen creates tiny little threads, and that's actually really quite wicked. It's a cool little technique that you can use there, and you can scribble around, and you'll find that it goes up really quite nicely. As you come out the bottom now, we can have a line that comes down and is going to just be going down towards the right hand side of the canvas here on this paper. We want to send it in that sort of direction. So it's not going horizontally, it's from that side there, it's going to trickle its way down to this side. Nice straightish line, can't go wrong. It's looking pretty good actually. And so you can maybe ask the person next to you what yours looks like. That's usually the terrains that you, if you're doing this with a family member, you've been looking at theirs to see how good they are. It's not the case at all. You just, as long as you're having a bit of fun and you're going. We had our first little dot there, our second dot, our third dot. What we're wanting to do is, if you see the top here, right, we're doing our first dot, second dot, we're going to double that space, and we're going to take our outermost line, and we're going to go up to meet that, and we're going to go and see if we can match it on the other side. So it's like a little mound, I suppose. You've got double the space there, you've got double the space here, and a single space up there. Ideally, it's just wanting to be a widened curve here, a widened curve, sort of a flattened semicircle that we've squashed out. Alright, so you've got those spaces that you can look at, and you want to be able to look back from that. It looks positively horrendous in terms of being accurate, but as long as you've got a basic, softer curve around there to join your two, you're good. Okay, so now we're going to do exactly the same thing again. We're going to do, from that point, we're going to do 1, 2, 3. Okay, from that one there, we're going to go 1, we're going to go 2, we're going to go 3. Alright, so with those 3 dots, from the apex here, from the top of our little curve, we're going to try and take a line and it's going to go down to meet this one. So we're going to go down and to meet that. Alright, so we've got a straight line going down from our apex, from this first one, and go down to meet that one there. Okay? Looking good. Alright. From there, we're going to have a second, where our second dot was. Alright? Also from the apex, we're going to take a little bit of a curve and go down and meet that as well. Another little curve. Alright, and just when you thought you were in control, we're going to throw in another one. Alright, another little dot out there, and we're going to take another line out. Alright, so there we go. So we've got our lines that are coming out, semicircle, quadrilateral, we're good to go here. In the center one here, we've got this one, we've got the one on the outside. In the center one here, what we want to do is we want to do just vertical lines in this corridor. Vertical lines here. In this little center one, there we go, we're just going to fill it with vertical lines. Alright, all is, depending on how much water you've been on, straight up as you can get it. We're colouring it in, so to speak, with just some vertical lines. Right, because essentially what we're wanting that to look like is that there's the rock wall of this bridge. It's got a flat side to it, it's also got a flat side to it, but then you can actually sneak in and run across there. So everyone that's been in lockdown, we're looking to cross over the river Tongathea into the promised land. What we want to do is, again, once you've done that, you've scribbled in that thing, you literally just want to scribble it. If it's vertical, it kind of gives us the idea that that's the way it's growing. Because you come up vertically, we've got some tapping going on here from our children. A Labrador and another cross something which is not a golden retriever like they said it was. Alright, so we've got these verticals going there, colouring that in. Alright, and then we've got what would look like horizontals. You don't have to colour those horizontals in. I just want to show that that is vertical to give us the idea that that should then be horizontal. So the light's coming down there, it's smacking on top of our bridge there. Okay, so underneath our bridge now, we wanted to get the sense that this little line is going to continue all the way through. Alright, you just take a very light line there and carry it through underneath your semicircle. Oh, starting to look good here. Starting to look good. From the center of the semicircle, right? From the center of the semicircle, we want to be able to bring what would be an arc down. Alright, it's a curved line from that center area. Looking from the side, you want to do another little arc coming down. Alright, so we see that. There we go. Okay, we need to lie down. Stop doing the bounce. Alright. From there, and then what we're going to do is you can run them lines next to it, so you can shade that in. Alright, so that's nice and dark there. Alrighty. So we're locking that in there to be nice and dark. So we get a sense that that's actually working quite well. Right, underneath that, from that corner there, from the left-hand side of our little dark shadow, we're going to want to do a little curve around and under. So we create a little miniature semicircle there. Excuse me. Alright, a miniature semicircle, and then again, from the other side of our dark shadow that we just coloured in, we want to be able to bring it down so that it meets up with that other semicircle. It's going to curve gently and then meet up with that other end that we just created. So all I'm doing there is really trying to create a reflection of what we've got above. Okay? So first thing we did there, from that dark coloured in little space underneath our bridge, the first line we did, a little hammock line, so to speak, and then another little hammock, a little bit wider there, so it joins up at the bottom there. Okay, now how is it that we create reflections? Reflections are really quite wicked, is that you can just drop the vertical down, just drop these little lines, it must be straight. Vertical lines, not close together like those lines. we want to make it a little bit lighter. So lines just straight down. Okay, so we get the sense that, oh, there we get a little bit of a reflection going. Right, if you find that you are enjoying that reflection, nice one, well done. And don't forget to type in a little comment there as to where you're from this evening, if you're joining us from wherever you might be. We'll throw those little names into a hat then and get this artwork shipped off to you. We'll draw your name out of that. So just make sure that you write your name there and where you're joining us from, and we'll see what we can do to make sure that you end up with a nice little artwork at the end of the day. Might be rubbish compared to yours, but we're just giving it a go. Okay, so from there now, what we're going to do is we've got our little brick scenario. So we can split this one in half, this semicircle that we did. That is a terrible split in half. Alright, and then we can also come from the end in the middle there, and this one in the middle there. And what you do is get into the middle there, and we want to just create a general line that's going to separate those two, so that what we can do is we can create our, this little original Roman idea. We had the keystone at the top there, which came down and gave us a central area to work from, and then you can do your bricks on either side of that, spiraling out, creating the offsets, so that this people that really took the time to make bridges back then, and we've been covering some fascinating work in school at the moment, where we've been discussing the pyramids, and we're about to venture into Roman art and sculpture, and the Greek art and sculpture on the Acropolis, Parthenon, and then into the Pantheon, and talking about all these bricks and how they get stuck together. I don't know if you guys can relate to anything. We've been building bucket loads in the garden recently. Not much else to do. Piling rocks up, making it look pretty for a week, and then unpiling it again. There we go. Alright, so we've got those little kind of bricks that might look like they've been piled up really quite nicely. As your brick gets up to the top there, what you can do is you join it to go horizontally. As it hits up, hits the side, you get it to join and go horizontally on the top there. That might actually give your form to your bridge a little bit more believability. And again on the other side there, let's stick that across, and stick that across, and stick that across as well. So we get that sort of sense of form that's working. Right, that's about 10 minutes in, and now what we've done is we've taken care of, to a certain degree, this foreground area. What we want to do is maybe just flick in. If we've come to this little point here, this is where you'd sneak down with your fishing rod, and you dug up a couple of earthworms next to you there, you've got your bucket of sandwiches, and you're going to drop your fishing line in just here. As it drops in, you've got your little nook there. And you not wait until this lockdown is over to try and find a stream somewhere, and we get down to that little nook there. Sit, your family, breathe fresh air. Alright, and then again we're going to come further forward. We want to find another little nook cranny here. There we go, we're going to scribble up again as well. Maybe make this one a little bit longer, because it maybe gives the idea that the bank isn't so steep as it comes towards us. So we're just going to again flick that up as it comes forward. That's it. Really nice and simple. Okay, because what we're getting is an idea that this is gentling down into there, and then we've got this image coming up here. What we do need to do though is establish a horizon in the background. We don't want to go too high, because we want to try and stick below halfway. Usually when you're composing an artwork, you don't want it to be halfway, you're going to cut your artwork in half. We might have overstepped the mark already. There's halfway there, there's about halfway there. So let's go just below that. And we're going to try and do a little scribble all the way across. Alright, so let's step back and see if that's relatively horizontal. Not too bad. Alright, so we've got that running horizontally. Okay, so looking good, looking good. Welcome to those folk all the way from Surrey. Very nice. Okay. Well done there. Good, got a nice little line going all the way across. Howick, Hilton, Freiheit, Bernie, Texas, sorry. Nice, and Maritzburg. All the way also from Umhlanga. I bet you guys are excited that you can get your surfboards out soon again. Okay, right, so we've got this little horizon line here. Scribbled it across nice sort of delicately there. Okay, what we're going to do now is try and venture into creating a couple of trees. Now this is always a little bit of a disaster, but fortunately this is no real sit and sketch, so I can't walk around and evict you like Survivor. You actually just get to follow on and not feel bad. But the idea is that you wanted to create something that's about a finger's width. It's a terribly dirty finger, but what we want to do is something that's got, if I draw a bigger one here, essentially our trees, when they started out, when we were small, they were these little circles, alright, and then we had a stem that came down, like a lollipop. As we became more and more prolific with our ability to draw lollipops, they got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, until eventually there was some everywhere. And these are all little branches of trees that gather momentum until eventually it's really quite exciting that you've established this beautiful shape of this tree here. Oh, it's really starting to bucket down outside. Alright, so we've got those little trees. Now, essentially you're wanting to be able to create those sorts of wobbly cauliflower shapes on the horizon. We're just going to do a couple of those. Some small, we're going to do two. Take a little gap. We're going to do a third one, and then a smaller one, and then another one. So we've got 5 trees there. Maybe you can put the number of family members you've got going on. We're drawing this evening, you can put those amount of trees in there. So you've got those little outlines, outlines, and they generally try and sneak back to being thin at the base. Alright? And so what happens is, once we've got those dived down to the bottom there, okay, we scroll in. Let's give them a little bit of a stem. So we're going to just do a little bit of a vertical line in the center there. Alright, because we want to be able to give them an idea that, you know, let's scribble in the middle. Then let's scribble just literally a little bit of a scribble. So we don't have time to do that, but it gives us the idea that that is the thing in the background. And Benton? Paying attention there, I like to see. Hold on. I need to find a way to pay some rent. Alright. And so now from this background here, what we've got to do, I feel bad, Fenton, absolutely love you. Loved you running to Richmond Park the other day as well. You might want to Google that, Fenton in Richmond Park. Epic video. Alright, so what we want to do is now gather up into some height here, wobble along, because what we're going to do is try and get a sense of terrain in the background. Drop down a little bit before being able to climb up again and then flatten out. So we're creating a sort of a little bit of a background, and we get real excitement going, because from our focal point in the front here into a little background there. And if you didn't have your watch on and you are just joining us, it is not difficult to catch up, but you need to get a watch. And we've done some semicircles, we made some blocks to try and get a focal point here. There's a little bit of a stream going on. There's a couple of scribbles there. And then we've got some family members at the back here with some little stems. We've got 2 people here, they're not talking to those 3 people there, but we are doing quite nicely. Okay, so from that basic point there, it's about simplifying. People are always terrified of doing drawing, but it's all just about simplifying reality. Okay, so our line there, quite a hard line, let's try and break that down into creating a little bit of a horizontal line behind our beautiful lollipops there. Alright, we're going to do a little rectangular in there, so we create a little bit of a sill or a strata of rock that's going to stick out there. And then another little one horizontally underneath it. There we go. Nice horizontal line there. So it may look like there's just a little bit of a stack, but this is again just the simplified form of the reality. And you can go through this every day in your life. You might find that in the workplace you're thinking, I've got all this information coming in, but what is the simplest form of it that I can use in order to get the point across? And that's really what abstraction is. It's just another word for simplification. So you've got your simple forms. What is the purest form of simplification? What's the purest way that you can put this point across? And think about it. Something that you do in business every day. What is it that you try and do to get most efficiently done? The most abstract version of that. maybe you need to draw it and see what it comes out like. Let's do that across there. Okay, so what I've done is I've just brought some vertical striations down. And those of you that have just recently done your Egyptian history, seeing there's the vertical striations of erosion from water weathering on the Sphinx, which is a bit crazy because there hasn't been water in the Egyptian Giza plateau there since about 11,500 BC, but apparently those pharaohs were building those things in about 2,500 BC, so there's a little bit of an anomaly sticking out there. That's fascinating about conspiracy theories. Okay, so let's go back into another strata on the left-hand side here. We're going to do another one in there, another one piled on top there. Try and get them to be in line. No, we don't want to be too much of a heroic geologist here making stuff up. But there we get that. And let's get these ones to come out and almost join the edges here so that we can almost create vertical rock formations that are sort of coming to stick out. Alright, so we get them to, they wobble out, and you get these lovely formations like you would find as you continue across from KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa. You head up in towards the central plateau, the town's called Bethlehem, real town. And you get these lovely little outcrops that start developing these horizontal striations. Really quite pretty, and especially in the evening as the light catches them. Okay, so what we've got is those. Now all we're wanting to have is a very simple background family. We've got our horizontal striations. Don't worry too much about the sky at the moment, but there needs to be something in the foreground here to join these two together, and that can come with a little bit of complexity, but let's see how we go. We want to pretend that, okay, so this river goes out. As it comes out the other side here, let's say it wobbles out. So we're going to do a S, the background here, and it's got a joining our horizon. So the S, top of the S, clean, sharp little S, comes down long back to that S and allow it to curve round and touch the top left-hand side of the bridge. That is the most complicated mark that you've had to make. Okay, so we've got our M. Nice big M going there, but just make sure the bottom left-hand side of that M is doing well. Okay, so we've got to really sneak this up quite quickly now to try and get it finished off. So moving quite quickly. You'll try and keep now that S close to itself. As it comes around, you want to leave a gap. Alright, so as it goes, it leaves a gap. Because as that river comes around the corner, you then have it coming towards you. It's nice and wide. Oh, that's looking wicked. Okay, but then you've got the bank in front of you, so we can't see anymore. But then it comes and it separates again, and it comes around the left-hand corner, coming in. There we go. Alright, and it comes down and joins us again. This time it's a little bit wider. Alright, so we get that stream to be really quite exciting as it comes around the corner. Try and make those horizontals horizontal, otherwise it's going to look like that stream is falling off the page. Okay, and let's quickly see now, can that actually make sense? From the horizontal tops there, let's treat some lines off there, and just have them going horizontally off. Just so that, like we had these little lines trickling off here, there we go, these lines that are trickling off here, we want to be able to get the same sort of things trickling off to the left, yeah? Trickling off to the left there, alright, and off to the right here. Alright, so we have these coming towards you, because that is going to be our river reflecting towards us. Alright, and our river there as well. So that will be our water coming towards us in that stream there. Again, you can just flick in some little verticals to show that those horizontal banks are coming towards you. Okay? Magical. Okay, so give us a thumbs up there if you are still enjoying yourself and you're still with us. I'm sorry if I put you to sleep, but I know that people have been struggling to sleep recently, so this might be a great cure for insomnia. And you can just put it on repeat with a lovely droning voice for the kids to go to sleep to. Okay, so we've got this horizon now. From this point where we had our little trees here, okay, we've got an area, this beautiful area. Now something that is going to give us a sense of depth. A successful artwork always has some sort of depth to be able to give you the sense of travel. Alright, so we've got our focal point in this front left-hand section, front right-hand section here. let's go and bring some lines out. If we have a very line that comes straight down towards us, just a delicate little scribbly line, because what's going to happen is we're going to have a line that comes next to it, a line that comes next to it, and it's going to flare out. Alright, so you get your lines to flare out, and that can be a sort of, we've got maybe a potato field that's growing in there. Alright, our wheat field's been, there we go. Okay, so he's going to scribble out a spiral from the base of our family tree there. Alright, and your lines, as you get up towards the horizon, obviously, they get packed on top of each other. So you want to be able to have your lines, as they get up to the right hand side and up to the left hand side, you want them to be closely packed together. And then we get that flare out coming towards us there. Boom, that's looking quite exciting. Okay, so nice and simple, that's 25 minutes that we've got going on there. A nice and simple, easy way to go. We could put a tree in here or whatnot, but I think this is a beautifully delicate, subtle background, middle ground, and foreground of that river coming through there. Okay, now the trick is, you need to be careful that you don't, those of you that do have some wine, don't dip your brush into the wine, but if you've got a little glass of water, okay, you literally just need a bottle top. I've overdone it here, but we've got buckets of water coming down outside. Alright, a little brush. You can just have a look now and seeing how we want to actually just simplify this. We can start off right in the foreground. Alright, so where we started drawing our semicircles, less is always going to be more with this. Be very careful that you don't obliterate it. And I do have some learners in the classes that we have that. This gets really exciting in that it suddenly transforms itself, where you've got the ability to run your brush over areas that you've put your ink down, but you've got to be very careful that you don't suddenly obliterate your artwork. Okay, so this ink runs very quickly, and the idea is that you just want to run a little bit of water over the top of it in order to be able to get it to start traveling. Now, I've only had one dip in the water. I'm going to run sideways across there. Okay, so we've got a little bit of that ink jumping on top there. We get our bricks coming through, then I've run it on the top there as well. What we can do then is, we just come forward here. I haven't gone back to the water yet. I'm just flicking, just flicking. And the gems would love that. Just keep flicking. And as we go along there towards the back, we just keep flicking. Alright, so we've got there, and as it comes out and you start running out ink, that's actually quite beautiful because it's like the watercolour is starting to finish off, and the bus has come along and it says, come on, stop fiddling about, get on the back of the bus and let's go. And you've had 25-30 minutes to sit out in the field and actually create some amazingness. We're going to go back and pick up a little bit more water. Alright, and then on the other side, we're going to again just keep flicking, across the other side. Oh, this is exciting, this is so rewarding. That is the best part of your day, where you can just make something out of nothing. There we go, and we are remembering that you can't just put water over the whole thing and just like with a cloth, and because then you're going to lose a little bit of the texture. The brush does actually add something magical to the whole thing. And then you flick along there, flick. There we go. And now we're going to run our brush along the bottom of the bank there and flick up from it. And again, you get that watercolor concept of it's picked up some ink and it allows you to play below that. I'm going to pick up a little bit more water, and picking up some ink from where I've been working there, I'm going to come underneath here, and where I haven't had any marks, I'm able to transfer some of that ink to scrub around and create a little bit of a foreground there. Alright, so you get the idea then. I don't want too much water to go into this background. I just want to tickle over that surface there so that we keep it as a little bit of a light. Alright, now let's explode into the background here. Our next thing that we want to work with is that horizon there. Let's just get a nice soft line going all the way along the horizon. Oh, that's looking wicked. Okay, and then he drops down into the foreground here. Oh, there we go. Run and don't destroy your bridge. Let's try and keep some light on top of that bridge. And let's run it away from the water. So, I haven't gone over. You want to see that there are still some of those beautiful little pen marks that you've got going. You want to have them not tainted by water, some with water on top of them. So you get a real great texture coming from both of them. It's literally simplicity is key in this concept here. You just literally want to trickle along and allow some of that beautiful mark making that you did create to stay there. Trees are key. If you want your painting to jump out at you, you are going to, I'm going to cheat here a little. I just want to pick up some ink here to give you an example. In the background here, you want your tree to stand out because it has got light behind it. Alright, so the light is catching the top of the tree. You want your outside of the tree to really jump out at you. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little leap into the background. Don't worry about our little family, we'll come back and chat to them now. And we're going to run our brush into behind our trees here. Alright, so we want to run it behind the trees, and that's going to help our trees to really jump out at us. And tip of the brush, and we run along. Remember that we want it to be soft at the back here, run along. Okay, we get to the edge of our little striations. Okay, and this is really where it's quite nice in that the watercolour, if you put your brush onto its side and run it along, it's going to pick up a little bit of our horizon there. And we want that gap to establish itself in the middle. Right, so we've got our mountainous area in the background there. But we do want us to be able to have a little bit of a gap between that mountain as it comes further forward, because I'll let you catch up there a little bit. The idea is that you want to be able to have little bits of contrasting light and dark in there, and what that allows you to do is to be able to have the opportunity to bring in, there we go, down with that brush there we get that idea that we're bringing some of this light down and it gives us form. If you've brought your striations and you haven't had very much space, it doesn't matter. You can again we can bring whatever space you've got there, you can bring it down. And you get that lovely sense that you've got the water over the hundreds and thousands of years, you've got, or you might be a flat earth type of folk, where this happened about 100 years ago, where these mountains popped up, and you can just run a beautiful brush down, and they sort of spread themselves out there. Fantastic. Okay, so the nice thing is that you get this lovely travel start happening, where you get that to come out, and then it joins this part, and then it travels out here as well, and then we get bouncing over our bridge and into the spiky grass. So you get a great sense of depth from small mark making there into an explosion there. Last of all, let's see if we can get some of our water to jump up at us here. So vertically, we're just going to run some vertical lines down in that water. Right, not over the whole thing, because we want that water to sparkle. Alright, everybody loves a bit of sparkle. Alright, and then on this side here as well, when that comes down, again on the front here, we're going to take one or two things where you'd be sitting and doing a little bit of fishing there. Alright, we've got, pick up a little bit of that ink, and we're just going to run it straight down here, because what happens then is you've got some of that ink, it just allows that to reflect a little bit there. Alright, so you've got those verticals, and you might find that you have the opportunity to do a little horizontal to break that up. Pick up a little bit of that ink and do horizontal. Always with water, make sure that you've got absolutely horizontal with the bottom of your page, or the sides of your page, so that you've got those verticals. Alright, now since we'll come back and talk to our trees here, what you can do is just give them a little bit of a tickle on the base there. You tickle the feet of those trees, and they just want to be able to create a mess, but you do not want to touch the top of them. You want that to really be a bounce out at the back there. Some of you might find that your trees have gotten quite tall and they're over the horizon. That's also quite exciting and actually makes a big difference to get the real focal point, climbing up to be quite tall there. And please, if you can, take a picture of your work and send it through to us. It'd be great to see the type of stuff that's been done this evening. And there it is, nice and simple. I cannot wait to see some of the work that has been created. Let's put on the glass in there, it's bothering me. There we go, nice and simple. You cannot get easier than that. So take a step back, have a look at your work, and it looks like that is definitely doable. Definitely doable. I hope that was fun. And there we go. Now, this is where it is possible, if we were actually to be in the same room together, to be able to say, you must put your brush down now, because one does run the risk of obliterating it. So let it go, put your brush down, and say, listen, I will do this again. So you just need to stay posted, and if you haven't liked the page so that you can get notifications of when we're next going to do this. And really what's quite exciting is that you can make a whole calendar. So you can do landscapes of all over the place. And if you've got something that's somewhere special to you, send it through to me. You can drop it in the private message box, and we can maybe pick one of your drawings to do in the future. Alright, so maybe give yourselves a round of applause, a pat on the back, and a big thumbs up. Alright, so there we go. Thank you for joining us. What we're going to do is take a little moment to have a quick walk around the gallery, and what we can do is take some time to reflect on your work, and then have a little walk around. So if you've got time, alright, so let's see if we can flip this around and have a look at some work here. Alright, so I'm going to get Laura to come and handle the camera. We've got an unfinished big one of some swans there, and I'm going to walk you around 4 particular artworks this evening that are just sitting in the gallery and are available for corporate rental in the days that we will actually usually do work, but they're also for sale, but also can be on rental in your own home. This particular painting is a simplification of a wildlife scene where we went and walked with some elephants the other day in a conservancy where this particular elephant's name was Rambo, and he was saved from a particular scenario. And just if I don't know if any of you have ever been able to get close to elephants, but lovely incident with Steve and Vicky, actually in Surrey this evening. We came across a herd of elephants very close, and to have them standing above you, you can almost start feeling and being a part of the process accidentally in some cases. And Steve unfortunately left a stain on my seat, but the idea is that this artwork's looking for simplicity, so there's just blues. You might think, why isn't it painted in realistic colours? But it's got actually, I just wanted to portray a real nice, simple essence of a moment, a cool reality. Alright, we can switch over to this artwork here, which is one called The Brothers Watch, which has mosquitoes landing on it. It's called The Brothers Watch because of a scenario where I have a young brother that joined us late in life, and he just didn't have the opportunity to go through school having older brothers. And I don't know if any of you can relate to that, where you may have a sibling that you wish you could have gone through school with. And there's myself being in the middle. I've got my older brother Lance, who's now in Auckland, and my younger brother Shane, who's actually in Norwich, and this is Reese. And the advice you try and give to somebody who has got his head up his wing, because he just doesn't listen, but he's actually turned out to be the most incredible human, and just won some awards for being a guide in Africa. So this is a painting that is depicting that Brothers Watch and how we reflect on ourselves the whole time. And a little oil on canvas. It's a very special piece, and I'm sure that there might be some of you that can relate to it. Brumuso Babe is a oil on canvas depiction of
cattle that I grew up with. I was very privileged to grow up in Zimbabwe on a farm, and Brumuso Bay, there's a painting I was doing when we had our 2 Labradors. Ben, the older Labrador, was diagnosed with the osteosarcoma on his shoulder. Days after we got him, we adopted them from rescue, and he only lasted about 14 or 15 days, and I was busy painting this at the time. And he would sit underneath my feet whilst I painted, and there's this innocence that I was trying to put. It was a royal show at the time, and we grew up with purebred Brahman cattle, and they just got those dopey ears like rabbits, and Dumbo, and an innocence, and it's trying to convey what we feel about the people that are in our care, or the animals that are in our care. It's trying to put across there's nothing more important than making sure that the things you look after, you are properly looking after them. And Bella, Ben's sister, now paints with me, and she sits around, wags her tail, painting. Don't worry about not wagging her tail, I'm not going to take offense to that. We'll be back to the SPCA. Right, so, and the second to last, we've got painting I did for an exhibition in 2003. Growing up in Zimbabwe, the South African, the Zimbabwean Railways was prolific in their steam locomotion in the south, with the coal mines of Wangi, and there these massive locomotives that were shunt in the yards, and we would go on holiday from the north in the watershed down to the south in Matabeleland, and to be left in the stockyards as a child, not in a bad way, it was good parenting, with my parents, and we would get to ride on steam engines and listen and feel the movement of that steam, and the passion that existed with 300,000 pounds of tractive effort, and it just being this motion and steam and loudness and this contrast of light that I was trying to portray, and there's some pretty aggressive large brush strokes that happen to be able to get a sense of direction. And this thing called life, I suppose, is where you try and have a sense of direction, and sometimes things fall off the rails a little bit, but if this thing is moving, and it is likely to have some influence from your childhood, you never know really where it's going to go, but if you can do it with somebody, and I'm very privileged, in hindsight it was almost prophetical to be able to have the most amazing person in my life at the moment who guides me and directs me, make sure I don't fall off the rails as much as possible. And anyway, so this is an amazing piece that is one of my favourites, and deserves to be on a big corporate wall somewhere, so for other people to share. What we also do as commissions, and this is where we'll finish off this evening, is Mrs. Dwayne has a commission for her house, also a big breeder of cattle, and oil on canvas, anything that you want done. That's really what we do in the gallery as well, looking for not necessarily interpretation of it, whatever you want to try and get to grips with and make something that will be absolutely spot on for you. I lied, there is another one that I really want to show you. This is one of my favourite places in the world. We will finish off, it's landscapes, right? And this is one of our most favourite places in the world. You can just stare at the sky if you are bored, like we have not been bored, but you can stand in between me and you and stare at the sky, and if you stare at it for long enough, it tends to start coming up over you. You just watch us, and then I didn't unfortunately have any canvas that was bigger than this. I am looking out for something, and it is going to be bigger in the evening, where the light comes in and hits the side of it, and then we'll do one in the early morning on an even bigger canvas maybe. But this is the Chiloto Cliffs, which is in southern Zimbabwe, in the place of the elephants, which is called Gon Reserve National Park in southern Zimbabwe. This ends up joining the Limpopo River downstream a little bit, and you can cross over from South Africa in the dry season through the river, and then across into this part of the world. It's quiet, it's pristine, it's a beautiful part of the world, and the size difference between here, you can see some of these are small baobab trees, and we went here as children
a very tricky time in our childhood, and my dad took us here to, I don't know, just to recalibrate, I suppose, and it's just this vast space of nothingness and everythingness. And I don't know if you have that place that you may have gone to, that's a very special place for you, that once you've taken one or two more of these different sketches, you'll be able to be creating for yourself. So that is a very favourite piece of mine. It's the Chilotro Cliffs and over the bed, and life's too short to be able to explain it all. But thank you very much for joining us this evening. You'll be able to catch this video on our YouTube channel, which is Brent.Artist. And join us again when we have our next drawing. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this evening.